We're here with Congressman Louie Gohmert from Texas. Welcome to NTD. We were just talking about Afghanistan, actually, and the current policy right now. I know there's been some talks, peace talks with the Taliban that doesn't include the Afghan government. So I just want to get your take on it, since I know you know a lot about the subject.
Well, negotiating with the Taliban, a lot of experts think that is the way to go, especially experts in the Obama administration.
Mm-hmm.
But a guy named Khalilzad that was also advising Condoleezza Rice, Secretary of State, and it sounded like the Obama administration was following his advice. And now he's still advising a great man, a wonderful, smart man, Mike Pompeo, our Secretary of State. And I think it's a big mistake, because I'm friends with some of the leaders of what was the Northern Alliance. And most people don't realize, but it took a little while to figure out where the attack on 9/11 came from, and where the training was. And once we figured out that was Afghanistan, it was the Taliban, then by October, we were putting in around 300 special ops guys. They embedded with the Northern Alliance. And we did have to pay some money here and there to get other tribal groups to subjugate to the leadership of General Dustin. And they fought the Taliban for us. And you know, they lost their lives, but they were fighting because they hated radical Islam, even though they were Muslims. They don't like radicals. And by the end of February of 2002, there were no organized Taliban left in Afghanistan. Now, some had fled to Pakistan, but none left. We had won. We had defeated the Taliban.
So what happened?
People asked the wrong question, and I really like President George W. Bush. He's a very gracious guy, but he took the advice of his experts who said, okay, now what kind of government should we give them? Wrong question to ask. You
What would you have
give
asked?
people, if it's not the government they themselves decide on, it's not going to work. And unfortunately, though Afghanistan lends itself to federalism even better than the United States, where the power should be in the provinces or states, the argument that won the day was, as I understand Khalilzad saying, no, let's give them a very, very strong centralized government. And most Americans are not aware. The short constitution we forced on them allows the president of Afghanistan to appoint every governor, appoint every mayor, appoint every police chief, he has to approve the top teachers. I mean, it's a formula for corruption.
Wow.
And so corruption abounds. But our allies who defeated the Taliban for us, we did not lose a single American by the end of February of 2002 when the Taliban was routed. And we did in the spring at a prison outbreak, but these guys fought with us. They bled for us. Many died working with us. And what I've been hearing from our former allies in the former Northern Alliance for a number of years now is, look, we know you can't stay here. And the truth is they know, and anybody with any history knowledge should know, no one has ever occupied Afghanistan very successfully. Some people try to bring up Alexander the Great. You know, he died and he left. I don't know that that's a big win. But anyway, but people like Massoud saying, look, we know you got to leave at some point. You can't stay here forever. And that's fine. But we have got to amend our Constitution, and the U.S. can help force that amendment. And I said, how do we force your government to amend your Constitution that we kind of forced on you? He said, you're paying a majority of our yearly budget. But the amendment that they felt like would make the difference, and still would simply allow every province to elect their own governor, each town to elect their own mayor, get their own police chief. And as Masood has said many times in recent years, look, so when you leave, if we still have this centralized government where the president is all powerful, then the Taliban will either kill him or buy him off. Either way, all of us that fought with you, for you, we will be killed. There will be no place for us. They will kill every one of us that worked with you to defeat the Taliban. And so when the Taliban then attacks you, you will not have any allies you can come to Afghanistan and work with. So if you allow us to elect our own governors and local leaders, then the Taliban may be able to get one or two provinces, but the rest of us will gang up and we can whip them again. So you made the mistake of asking about Afghanistan. I've got very strong opinions and largely based on knowledge of the people who are our allies in defeating the Taliban. Now they're back full strength. Now we're negotiating with our enemy, and they're just anxious to take over the moment we leave. We don't need to be occupiers.
All right, thank you very much.
Well, it's really a pleasure.